If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience because I have actually been using it regularly, and I have a pretty clear sense of what it does well and what it does not. I am on my feet a lot. Some days it is long walks, some days it is standing around for hours, and some days it is just that dull soreness that shows up at night and then hits again the next morning. I also get that tight, tugging feeling in the bottom of my feet that can make the first few steps after resting feel rough. So the main reason I tried this was simple. I wanted something I could use at home that felt more like hands-on pressure than a light vibration toy. What this thing is, in real life, is a foot and ankle massager that presses into your feet with rotating nodes, and it can add heat. It is for people who want pressure on the bottom of the foot and who like a massage that is more direct. If you hate strong pressure or you are very sensitive around the arch, you should know up front that even at lower settings, it can still feel pretty firm depending on your feet. The reason it stood out to me is the angle. A lot of foot massagers are basically a flat platform where you rest your feet and let it do its thing. This one lets your feet sit in a more upright position, and it feels like it is trying to work not just the heel and arch, but also around the ankle area. It is not the same as a person doing a full massage, obviously, but it is more targeted than I expected. On the outside, the one I have is white, and it honestly looks clean and simple. It is not something I feel like I have to hide in a closet. It has some weight to it, which I actually like, because when it starts pushing and rotating, it does not slide all over the floor. The shell feels like hard plastic, and it has held up fine for me with regular use. The foot area has a soft lining. After a while, you will probably want to wipe it down or vacuum around it, because it is still a thing your feet go into, and dust and lint happens. Setup is as easy as it gets. I plugged it into the wall, put it where I normally sit at night, and that was it. There is no mobile app here. There is no pairing, no updates, and nothing to troubleshoot. I know some people like smart features, but for something like this, I personally prefer it to be simple. If I am using a foot massager, I am usually tired. I do not want to open an app or deal with a connection. Daily use is also straightforward. The controls are on the unit itself. I will say this right away, since it might matter in your living room setup. There is no remote. For me, it has not been a big deal, because I tend to set it before I fully settle in. But if you have it positioned where you cannot reach it easily, you may find yourself leaning forward to change settings. When I am already relaxed, that is a little annoying. In practice, I use it most often at the end of the day. Shoes off, sit down, feet in, turn it on, and let it run. The first time I used it, I remember thinking, okay, this is not gentle. The pressure felt very direct in my arches, and the rotating motion found spots that were genuinely sore. It was the kind of feeling where you are not sure if you love it or hate it for the first minute. Then your foot settles into it, and you start to relax. The heat is a big part of why I keep coming back to it. Heat on its own is not magic, but combined with the pressure, it makes the whole session feel less harsh and more soothing. On nights when my feet feel cold or stiff, the warmth makes it easier for me to stick with the session instead of stopping early. I also tested it in some real scenarios that match how people actually use something like this. After a long day of standing, I used it while sitting on the couch watching a show. That is probably the most realistic use case, and it fits well into that routine. The massage helped reduce that heavy, tired feeling in my feet. It did not make me feel brand new, but it did make it easier to get up and move around without feeling like I was stepping on tender spots. I tried it after a longer walk when my calves and ankles also felt tight. This is where the angle helped. It does not truly massage your calves, but the way it positions your foot can make the ankle area feel more supported, and the pressure under the heel and arch made my lower legs feel less tense afterward. Again, not a replacement for stretching or actual recovery work, but it supported it. I also paid attention to what it felt like the next morning, because that is when my feet tend to complain. With consistent use over a few weeks, I noticed I was less stiff when I got out of bed. I still had mornings where my feet were sore, but it happened less often, and when it did, it faded faster once I started moving. That was the biggest practical benefit for me, because it was not just short-term comfort. It seemed to help reduce how often that morning pain showed up. Now let me talk about intensity, because this is where people are going to have different reactions. If you like a light massage, you might find this too much. The nodes press in a way that can feel intense, especially in the arch. I have a decent tolerance for pressure, and even I have days where I turn it down or stop early because my feet are sensitive. On the other hand, if you have tried those softer massagers and felt like they did nothing, this has a better chance of giving you that deeper pressure you are looking for. Noise is another real-world thing. It makes sound when it runs. It is not painfully loud, but it is not silent. If you are using it in a quiet room, you will hear the motor and the movement. I can still watch television over it, and it does not bother me, but I would not use it next to someone who is trying to sleep. Comfort depends a lot on foot size and how you position your feet. When my feet are placed just right, it hits the heel and arch in a way that feels really satisfying. If my feet are slightly off, it can feel like it is missing the spot or pressing too much in one area. So there is a small learning curve where you figure out what position feels best for your feet. One more thing that matters. If you have specific medical concerns like nerve pain, circulation issues, or anything serious, I would not treat this like a medical solution. For me, it is a tool for daily comfort and muscle relaxation. If you have numbness, sharp pain, or a condition that needs medical attention, I think it is smart to check with a doctor before using strong pressure on your feet. Overall, my impression is that this is a solid at-home foot massager for people who want real pressure, especially at the end of the day. It feels well built, it is easy to use, and the heat feature makes it more comfortable for longer sessions. The biggest drawbacks in daily life are the lack of a remote, the fact that the pressure can be a lot if you are sensitive, and the operational noise. If you are the type of person who wants a simple device you can plug in, use consistently, and actually feel working on the bottom of your feet, this has been genuinely useful in my routine. If you want something quiet, ultra gentle, or controlled through a phone, this is probably not the right fit. You can view detailed information about the Cloud Massage Shiatsu foot massager in the comments section. Thank you for watching.